States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. We are going to reshuffle the agenda tonight. The Conservation Commission has canceled or asked us to delay that meeting that was scheduled for 6:30, so we're going to take Kathy Lynch from, is it ECAT? Is that the right way to do that?
You got it.
Read their proposal, which is just 1 second, Kathy.
Yep.
It's, I forget what pages of your, it's in your package, I saw it. Starting, I think, on page 9. Page 9. Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, so I sent an email to the selectmen at southampton.town.us, and I'm just wondering if everybody, there's a little link. So I was wondering if we could open up the presentation or the proposal tonight with just clicking on the link and watching a short video for about a minute that everybody can do from their iPad.
I don't think their emails are on their iPad.
No.
Oh, they're not.
No. That was an issue I was going to bring up tonight, too. Whether there's any way you can, when you send out all those emails, instead of putting them, we can put them on the...
Yep, we can do that.
They're there.
Well, then I can just read you the address if you want to.
We didn't, I
Might have, but I don't recall it.
when did it come, when did it go out or come in?
No, I sent it this evening, earlier this evening, just so that it would
I left
be.
the office at 2.
Yeah, it would've
Here,
gone.
let me just,
Why
what I can do.
why don't you put it right here and,
You tell me the address, I can go to it.
It's vimeo.com/636
VINO,
VIMEO.
VIMEO.
Yep.
Go ahead, keep going.
/636 686 19.
636 686 19.
No, of course, it doesn't come up. Maybe it's HTTP. Do you have email on that?
No.
Okay, so you know what, if I just go there.
Chapter's there, it's the controller. I don't know where the controller is.
Well, anyway, you know what I can do? I already have it
just
keyed up right here.
put it there.
Fire.
You see it?
Some folks at home can't see this, but you can go to our website, www.ecatchannel5.org.
Hi, I'm Tessa Holt, and our project is Emotion in Motion. And I know it's a little bit awkward on land, but in the vernal pool, this is the way we swim around. Please,
I'm going to give you a new tour through the high school again.
One of the few joys that she experienced was seeing the bears exhibited on the streets.
About one person over 65 falling every 2.5 to 3 seconds. So
tonight is the 7th annual Light Up the Arts celebration.
And I want to just take this moment to personally invite you to our East of Paradise silent and live
Much
walk.
quicker start. Both jammers winning their way through the pack. Mars Travolta to work in coordination and cooperation with the private sector.
my name is Ingrid Flory. I'm voting for the favor of the override.
They're exposed to a lot of influences, and they have a lot of complicated decisions to do. The first one is based on a whole sheet vote.
Diane Saya, your host, and thank you for joining us for another segment.
He wants you to learn how to cook it. It's delicious.
With 3-ton interlocking stones in the roof. This is a picture of it.
Did women in those days just accept early marriage?
I started it on in April 1945 on the 17th.
How we live, how we use our environment, how we shape our environment.
Well, hi, and welcome to another episode of Ask Mike, which you're going to get 10% or 5% off your purchase.
Then we have the approval of the minutes, which I saw.
To campaign for East Hampton's own Dave Sullivan.
State Representative John Seidel. With me today is State Representative A. Hampton District.
And I'm here tonight for exactly that reason. I'm here to ask for help.
This is an annual event as part of our offerings to college.
Discharge and perform the duties of mayor of the city of East Hampton.
Discharge and perform the duties of mayor of the city of East Hampton.
So you can go ahead and stop it at any point now. The purpose of just showing you this video is just to give you a broad overview of a lot of the more localized stuff that we show on our channel. A lot of it has to do with government, a lot of it has to do with local interests. People in the community go out and shoot things, cover things. We make, in-house we make a lot of commercial style public service announcements for local events. Right now we have one running on our bulletin board about the East Hampton Toy Fund, all that kind of stuff. Just so you had an idea of what we would bring to Southampton, and what we can do at Southampton by merging and allowing Southampton to use our equipment. So that's just a general overview. It's a little video that we made for our last annual meeting that just kind of shows, and it goes on and on because we do a lot of nationally syndicated shows and we do a lot of educational programs, all that kind of stuff. So I guess, has everybody had a chance to read the proposal? Or do you want me to read it to you?
Give us a minute.
Okay.
Page 11 is the cost analysis, by the way. Page 11 of our package.
Also on that page 11, a couple of the numbers have changed since I was here last, so.
Without him?
Roger, we joined in with them.
I'll agree with that.
Okay. I guess.
We're talking about that. Or that.
Yeah, that makes sense. But still, it's
Okay. Are we all set?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so the proposal is based on the premise that something is better than nothing, which is what we have right now. So, and also, just to sort of get the ball rolling, we're proposing that you guys contract with us for a period of 2 years as an initial relationship and see how that goes. I mean, you have a lot of options. I'm not here to present all of those options to you, but I'm here to advocate for ECAT becoming a provider for Southampton. I spoke with Charter Communications, and that's also in the addendum. So technologically, it's not that complicated for us to take all of the television signal from here, bring it back to our hub at White Brook Middle School, and then redistribute to a hub. There's like an East Hampton, Southampton mini hub that then gets sent to Chicopee. It was not complicated for them. They said it was really easy, and it's a $4,000 equipment investment because you need a receiver. I think it's called the TXRX receiver and transmitter. So there would be an initial equipment investment. That would be that pairing, regardless of who was administering Channel 5 in Southampton, that pairing would have to be purchased. So, what I would assume would happen would be the town of Southampton would buy that out of their cable access capital fund. It would be an appropriate expenditure for the capital fund, and then you would own that, and it would just live in our studio. If the relationship didn't work out, you take your stuff back and contract with whomever else. I don't. It seems like it's a natural and practical relationship for ECAT to become the provider for Southampton. We're already set up to do meetings. We're already quasi doing a lot of things for Southampton. We're just not doing it officially. So my hope is that in this proposal, we can get the ball rolling and making an official relationship and start negotiating a contract. I mean, I think it's fairly straightforward, but my perception could be completely off, and you guys could have a lot of questions. So,
questions?
Is the total cost that we're talking about to us $15,000 or the $24,000?
So the way that access funding is structured, you have an annual operating fund, which is the 1%. The 1% that is the cable pass-through, that's your annual operating money. And then in a 10-year contract, and I think you guys are about 18 months to 2 years into your 10-year contract, you get a lump sum called a capital fund. So your larger equipment purchases would come out of the capital fund. So for example, all the money that paid for this room to be set up came out of the capital fund. So the initial, the capital totals in the analysis would be the initial outlay. And then after that, you don't pay that again. And also, those numbers it's an approximation, but those numbers can go up and down, depending on what choices the town makes.
What were you going to say, Randy?
A question I have is, we're talking about a person 20 hours per week times $15. Is that an employee of this town?
No, it would be an ECAT employee.
But it also says underneath it, plus town benefits.
No, it says without. Oh, so the cost analysis.
To be determined.
Yes, so what I was trying to do is show you what the value scale is. So for example, if Southampton said, okay, you know what, ECAT, get out of here, we don't want to deal with you, we're going to do our own stuff. So if you were going to do your own stuff, you'd have to then go through, in the first column, independent cost, and make those purchases. Then you would have to have somebody to run the channel. So at a 20-hour per week, you would be approximately paying that plus town benefits if it was a municipal station and that person were a city employee or a town employee. So what I'm trying to say in that spreadsheet is that that's also, the TBD is what you're saving. It's what you're not outlaying.
Still not clear because under the first column, it says plus town benefits. Now the town, after 20 hours, is obligated to pay full-time benefits for the employee, even though they're working part-time. That could boost that if the town was doing probably up to $7,000 or $8,000, if not more. But it says to be
I just didn't know what
yours.
No, that's under your column.
I just need to know, is under the $15,000, is the benefits absorbed in that? Or is that to be determined later on, and we would see a surprise of $7,000 or $8,000?
No, you're not going to see any surprises because the way that column 1 works is only for Southampton. The way that column 2 works is that the ECAP merger cost, that person that we would hire as a Southampton coordinator would be an employee of ECAT and would not be an employee of the town of Southampton. So it doesn't apply.
You didn't ask who's paying for their benefits.
The ECAT would then pay for their benefits.
So we're not going to be charged for the benefits?
No.
So all we're obligated for staff is $15,000?
Well, I mean, so that would be in the negotiation. If I budgeted $15,000 for to hire a person to come out, shoot stuff, train people, yada, yada, whatever, then that's it. Maybe in the
I just want to make sure
negotiation.
this person is not a town employee.
Person's not gonna be a town
If he's working
employee.
for the town and he gets a check
No.
on a weekly basis from us,
No, he's not
we're
gonna.
obligated to pay those benefits.
He or
But I
she
don't
is
want to
not
be
gonna.
surprised that we have to pay benefits later on.
The only way that that person would be an employee of the town is if the town hired them.
I understand that.
So,
but
that's not gonna happen.
It's vague here. I mean, under one column, you got plus town benefits. Another column says to be determined.
Right, well, let me just explain. The purpose of the independent cost was to simply generate the differential to show you approximately what you would be saving from merging with us.
Well, I guess what's confusing everybody is you have the two columns above on page 1, and when you go to well, it says sheet 1 too, but when you go to the second sheet, it merges down into one column, and it's hard to differentiate what they're seeing. I think their question is,
Right,
what's
okay.
column 1 and what's column 2?
Right, so if we just kind of
So I think
extend it.
Are you saying the column which only has a $15,000 figure is our column? Is
It
the
would be
merged?
the ECAT column, the ECAT merger cost column. So what I should have done is put the headers back in
Buried
the
them
second
down.
printing of the second page.
But I guess the next question is, if it's your employee, are we going to be surcharged for their benefits?
No.
It won't be 15 plus some benefit
No.
package?
No,
It's not going to be a reduction in hours.
no. No, I mean, this is an estimation, so if we put out a job search and we get someone, great, and depending on what the annual operating money Southampton contracts with us for, will determine what the person's salary is with administrative costs. So, I'm not saying that, it's gonna cost you only $15,000 a year, because that's something we'd have to negotiate. I'm simply budgeting approximately $15,000 a year to pay a half-time staffer.
And is that approximately market value for a half-time staffer,
Yeah,
$15 an
yeah,
hour?
yeah.
And this month, what were you saying, Reggie?
We have a 5-year contract with Charter Communications,
For?
with Charter, for the cable.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
didn't do 10, we did 5.
You did 5, okay. Well, that's
So
good,
this
too.
money's coming out of the money that's set aside in that.
Right.
The PEG
Do
line,
we know how much money's in that?
$69,738.67.
I'm sorry, 60.
Much?
That's in your capital, correct?
69,000?
That's in your capital, not in your operating. So you're taking about $18,000 a year.
$69,738.67.
And then there's another account? That's the
I
capital?
think we put it all together. I would ask Vicki. Yeah, I would ask Vicki on that one.
Right, that's in a,
Yeah, but so is there more than 60, another account? Or is it only 69? One account. So we have 69,000, which amounts to how much, and we're how far into our contract?
We renewed it in 2011, so we'll expire in.
Well, I'm saying, how long has it taken us to account? Is that money accumulated in 2 years? 69,000, or does that go further back than 2 years?
It goes all the way back to when we conceived this.
I can tell you that February 27, 2013, you received, yeah, yeah,
For the year?
yeah.
So we generate about $18,000 in revenue from that account per year?
I don't know what the year was before that. I don't know what 12 was.
Well, the last year that you were aware of was 18,000.
Is there any other cost that you're aware of that comes out of that account?
The video recording of the meetings.
We pay for that.
How much?
Do we know what that number is?
It's $120 a meeting.
We don't know on an annual basis.
Well, I did a quick calculation, and for just select board, 120 meetings times, 120 times 52.2, 6,264.
If we met every week, it would be $6,000 for.
Well, I'd like to get a spreadsheet and see where we are with what we're paying into it. If we get enough to cover this on an annual basis, I would consider it, but
Well, right now, we
there's some unknowns out there I'm not comfortable with. I'm not comfortable with the labor issue.
No. Well, and
The staffing.
the 18 barely covers the staffing issue. If the income is 18 a year, and we haven't had a chance to research it, but if that's what it is, then that just covers the staffer. It doesn't give us any of the capital numbers.
But we're not, so what we're proposing is for an operating budget, not for a capital budget.
And the operating budget you're proposing is?
I'm not proposing an operating budget, because that would then, if you want to explore the proposal, then we enter into contract negotiations, then we crunch the numbers then. So what I'm offering to you in terms of these numbers is an estimation, like a budgeted amount. So under the first part of the spreadsheet, those are all capital expenses. Capital expenses are one-time expenses. And then an operating budget would be renewed every year.
And I understand there's some big swings in there. For instance, the first item is $400 to $2,750, and it's for some calendar system that we may or may not need to purchase.
Right. Right, so that's something that would be optional. Under my last line is optional equipment purchase. And then under the, from charter, TXRX receiver transmitter pair is a mandatory purchase. So that's a price range of products.
Right.
Currently, what you're using for your...
If we went along with what you have here, my observation on this is, yes, we have enough money in that account to take care of for 2 years, but over the long run, we'd be running a deficit because we don't bring enough money in to support this on an annual basis.
I don't think so. I think you do bring enough money in.
No, you missed the picture. We only bring in, what, 17, 18,000 a year?
Well, that was the last year. We have a number.
Last year we got, I think the year before that was 21.
Okay, so it fluctuates. We don't have enough money to cover this, so, you know, eventually, if it's going to continue, it's going to cost the town money above and beyond what we collect.
Out of the general fund.
It won't come out of I think that's a mistake. It shouldn't come out of the general fund because it's you receive every year the 1%, right? That's your annual operating budget, is that 1%. Capital expenditures are a one-shot deal. You only buy a truck once, and you run that truck into the ground until it's time to buy a new truck. So you're not buying the same things over and over. So I'm not asking for $5,800 to $88,000 every year.
I'm not speaking for the board. I'm saying, if you want to move this along, give us a proposal on the bottom dollar so we can make a determination if we can pay this on an annual basis. Because right here, on all these line items, there's a lot of flexibility.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that these line items, the line items up here on the first page, the bulk of this is a capital expenditure. So that's a one-shot deal. So that is a one-shot deal that would come out of the balance of the 5521. That's your capital money. Your 18,271 is your annual operating money.
I understand that.
So even if we start to move forward in phases, or, you know, we can enter into a contract, I'm just waiting for feedback from the town to say, well, that sounds nice, but what if we did this instead? And to sort of have some guidance and direction on what you guys are looking for and where you want to go with it.
Well, before we do that, what are we going to get for our half-time employee? I mean, right now for $125 or whatever.
120 a meeting.
120, we send out our meeting. What else are we getting if we sign up for this program?
You're getting full access, you're getting full cable access, and you're getting a channel that's broadcast into the town. Currently, you have no channel that's broadcast into the town. The only television signal that ever comes out of this building during this meeting, and that's it. Nobody else can come in and make programs. Nobody else can play anything in Southampton. Nobody else can do anything because you don't have the infrastructure for it.
Well, I guess that's what I'm asking you. You showed us a video of different scenarios of different programs that are being run. Would that be available to our people to?
Absolutely. So the residents of Southampton, what would you get? Yes. So what you would get for your money is your Southampton residents would have full access to our studio. And that means to come in, take lessons, enjoy our mentorship program, use the facility, use the equipment, use the several $1,000s of equipment that we've invested in our new technology plan. That's a big plus. You would have staff assistants for any town agencies or nonprofits that want to learn how to make videos or help with making videos to promote things, which is a big plus. You would have all kinds of programming for people like shut-ins, and you could have a special program out of the Council on Aging and the library. We could do programming with the Norris Elementary School, which we've done in the past, you know, on a sort of gratis, as a favor to the town to promote good relations. A couple years ago, we did the entire Veterans Breakfast. So you would get all that sort of community events. We've also done stuff in the Libre Field, and there's a concert series, and there's a bunch of other community functions. So you would get that. You would have your full community access. Anybody who wanted to come in and have an opinion and make a television show about it, they can do that. And they can have it broadcast in the town that they're having their opinion about.
Would it still cost us this $120 a meeting to broadcast this?
No, that would be rolled in. If you merged with us, we would stop itemizing everything we do for you.
Yeah, but that would be part of the 15.
That would be part of the service. And again, that would be something that we would write into the contract. And I'd also be happy to forward you the contract we have with the city of East Hampton, if that's helpful.
That might be helpful. Yeah, Jackie?
I was going to say, do you have programs for kids to learn how to make a video on media literacy?
Not specifically, but they're out there. I mean, it's something we could look for. You know, what I have right now on a technical scale, so we have a broadcast server. It's made by a company called Teleview. We have 4 channels that we can broadcast. We use 3 of them. We've been saving a 4th channel for Southampton for about 4 years to see, you know, depending on how your negotiations were going to go with charter. So for us, we just kind of want to know, like, we're either going to use that input or not use it. And we also made a lot of technological upgrades. So right now, in your basement, there's an old PC running PowerPoint. That's your calendar. You get a power surge, everything's off. Everybody's calling. People get calls. Reggie's office probably gets a lot of calls about that. Then somebody has to go down, physically reset it. Somebody has to go down into that computer to change the dates of all the things that are going on. That's all gone away. It's a much more, you know, if we have a much more efficient system. I can sit in my living room at home on my laptop, update messages, set expiration dates. I can put full video PSAs from the ad council or from local people that local people make. That was what some of those examples were.
What if somebody, like a teenager or somebody in high school, wanted to film a sporting event and broadcast it live? Could they do that?
It depends on if there's infrastructure for that. We can broadcast some things live. We can get around broadcasting live by streaming, and we can stream to our channel and then redistribute it from Whitebrook there. So there, I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no. It would just depend on what infrastructure was in place. For example, if we went to a Hampshire regional baseball game or something, if they don't have an internet hookup, nothing's going out live. If there's no way to plug into the cable system, nothing's going out live. But that doesn't mean you can't tape it and then play it later.
Yeah.
So you could do that, and that's what we do because there's no infrastructure for that in the fields in Nonotuck Park. So when we do high school baseball games, we tape it and then we load it in the server and then we replay it. And the coaches can also use that. Now that East Hampton High School has a new high school, we can broadcast basketball games live. We can broadcast public events live. You know, we can, in Southampton, what you have for infrastructure here is the only live broadcast can come out of this building.
Right, so if a young high school student wanted to go and learn how to use a camera and borrow your camera to film an event, a sporting event, could they do that?
Absolutely.
And then just show it at a later date?
Yep.
Or it could be used for sports?
It can be used for anything. There's no, we don't censor and we don't pre-screen what people want to do. They have to assume that liability. You know, all that we do is if something is of a controversial nature, we show it a little bit later, you know, on the television. So, because it might not be appropriate for children that are awake at that hour. That's all. That's all that we do.
I don't have any questions. I understand what's happening. I just...
What's the pleasure of the board as to how do we want to proceed?
I'm not sure. I'd like to know if there's a need from the community before we made that decision. I mean, I don't know that anyone's come and said, you know, has the Council of Aging come and said, I'd really like to broadcast this? Has anybody from the school come and said, I'd like to do this? Because at this point, I think if there's not an overwhelming need, I'm not sure that we're in the position to enter into any contracts that could cost us any money in the near future.
How would you wish to proceed?
I would like to put something on our website or send something out to ask the community if they're interested, if we give them some information about the things that they can do on this channel. And if there's no
That's sort of been done. That has been done before. But there was a survey that was put, but it was a little bit of an odd survey. I have the results right here.
How old is the survey? Is it?
March 2012. So it was a survey, and I think we talked about this a little bit last time I was here, is that there was a survey that was put out by the previous town administrator, and it was on the website. I think it went through SurveyMonkey, and there's a link on the website. So it said, would you like to see more on Channel 5, public access? 40%, which was a response count of 9, said yes. Government access, 22% said yes. And educational access, 13% said yes.
Did you say 9 responses?
Yeah, 9 responses. That's a sample.
Very good.
No, it's not. It wasn't a high sample, and it was a faulty survey in a lot of ways because it said things like, "What do you watch Channel 5?" But there's no programming on Channel 5. So
was
what
that
do you
the
watch?
survey they did with a whole litany of various issues for the town?
Yeah, it was a public. I mean, I'm happy to. It's a public access TV survey. It wasn't a whole. It was specifically that, but then the survey was a little bit designed differently.
From other committees.
So I understand what you're saying about that, asking the public if there's a need, but I guess I would present the argument that the public and the cable subscribers are already paying for that service, they're just not getting it. They're paying for the 1% because they're getting it passed through on their bill. So, even if you don't want a Southampton coordinator, what we should think about is at least finding a way to get programming up on Channel 5. Because for example, these meetings can't even be rebroadcast. You have to wait until we post it to the website, then click the website. Versus if we integrated you guys into our technology, whatever I'm saying and we're saying right here is already being captured in Whitebrook, and as soon as you're done with your meeting, can go back out and rebroadcast.
Here's a question. What happens to that $69,000 or whatever number it is if we don't spend it, since it's in a...
Nothing.
Stays there.
And you can't do anything with it.
But I'm saying, for how long? Is there an end to that account at some point in time?
Well, when you
Till your
change
next cable
contracts.
negotiation.
What happens to the 69 that's there?
When you change contracts, you change cable suppliers, that might change.
I understand, but right now there's $69,000 in an account. At some point in time, where does it go? Does it come back to us? Does it go back to the cable company if we don't?
have to spend it on something that's related to...
Well, I know in years past, when it first came out, they used to balance the budget. To be honest with you, they did.
But I'm just saying, if we
If it
don't...
was a revolving account, that would go back to the general fund.
Right.
Because it's special revenue, it just...
Right, so it's 69, it's going to keep growing, and changing cable companies or whatever.
Right,
It's just going to keep growing, and it's not going back to them, and it's not coming to us. It's just money in the lock-in.
The purpose of the funding is specifically for this purpose. So when you entered in your cable contract negotiations with Charter, you negotiated for a capital expenditure money to fund, this room and anything else you might need. And the 18,000, some odd dollars you get per year is to have a cable access channel, which you don't currently have. So.
That was the point of my question.
Yeah.
If we don't use it, it's just going to sit there and accumulate.
Right.
Couldn't we come up with a way to at least broadcast more meetings that at least happen in this room?
I like that idea.
At least we have, if you wanted to see the Conservation Committee or whatever else, that would make a little more sense to me at this point than teaching people how to use video cameras. I don't think there's a need at this point, but for people to be able to stay home and watch other meetings in this room.
You sound good too at that end.
I'm way better than I was.
He's bad and you're
The
bad.
community calendar is also important as well. We use that quite often.
Well, again, my question is, what's the pleasure of the board? How do they wish to proceed from here? Do you want another survey? Do you want to have the ECAT put a proposal together? Do you want to, what's the?
My thing, I'd like to hear from Council on Aging, the schools, Conservation, Planning Board. We have several meetings in here on a weekly basis. If they want to be broadcast, I want to know that. If this is going to be important for them to get the message out, I want to know that so we can make this decision.
So are you suggesting a memo to the boards and commissions?
A member of the boards any board that might, Council on Aging might want to have access.
Requesting whether they'd be interested in having their meetings broadcast?
Yeah.
Simple as that?
Yeah.
A memo to the various boards and commissions, councils, and that, asking if they have any interest in having their meetings broadcast at this time. That's it?
No, I'd like to have a survey of the general public.
You can even ask committees if they have special functions or events that they might want broadcast.
Well, it's easy to send something to our, I'm just addressing Jackie's concern right now, but it's easy to send things to our boards and commissions because we have control. Right. John Q. Public, we don't have a way of getting out to them.
We do.
But
we can do SurveyMonkey and we can put it onto the website. And I could work with Kathy and she can help me with the questions.
Is there an interest in doing that also?
I think that would be good, because...
So we do both?
Yes.
Is that
do both.
Pleasure of the board, do both?
Yes.
Can I just ask, Reggie, have you gotten calls or letters to your office about people expressing interest in having public access television? Mm-hmm. You have had that in the past? Okay.
All right, so that's the plan of action. We're going to do memos to the boards and commissions, and we're going to do a survey to the general public through that. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so can we set up a timeline?
What was that?
Can we set up a timeline?
It's going to take a month to get all this stuff back.
I would say easily a month with this.
It's going to be after New Year's.
And the budget crisis.
After New Year's, I would imagine.
I would say 60 days, probably.
Okay, so maybe for February, we'll
I would say
check back in.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is you want a hard line number on what it's going to exactly cost.
Yes.
Okay, so,
A commitment number. If we were to accept the contract, how much is it going to cost?
okay, so in terms of equipment then, I would need to have at least a contact person to make those judgments. Like, do you want a calendar system that you can access for the web, that the police can access to say such and such road is closed? That costs more than the $400 box that sends out.
I guess come through Reggie and she'll come out to us.
Okay, okay.
It would be helpful to have like a list of who can have this,
Yeah,
and this.
alternatives.
And then we can say yes, no, 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 yes.
Well, it's sort of the entire package, like, so, it's not, you can do it in phases to a certain degree, but, I mean, you could say, we don't want a Southampton contractor, we're not gonna give you that money. Okay, well, fine, then, in order for us to broadcast on your channel, then I can say, this is what it's gonna cost you. And I can continue to send, $100, $200 invoices for all the little things that we do, but I guess, so what I'm looking for is to sort of at least get some commitment that Southampton's ready to move forward, because for the last few years, we've been kind of donating equipment and kind of giving lots of time gratis to make sure that you guys are going to be okay.
But at this point in time, I don't think we're in a position to make that commitment until these surveys come back and questionnaires come back, and we have a hard, fast number in front of you. We're not ready to make it.
Okay, all right, good enough.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
By the clock on the wall, we're a little late. We have a joint meeting with the Personnel Policy Procedures Board for the appointment to the committee. In your package is Mr. Lawrence's buried credentials at page 5. Start at 5.
It's way better.
Starts at 5, and his resume is after that.
Already ready, you can.
Quite an impressive resume. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Lawrence?
Art, why you want to be on the Policy and Procedures Board?
I've got, over 30, 35 years management experience. I've managed some very large institutions and small ones, and I think I can help, basically. And I'm retired, so I have some free time.
Mr. Lawrence is a resident of town, and he's a retired electrical engineer, and he's a current member of the Conservation Commission. I forgot that. Anything further?
He's on the screening committee for the highway superintendent too.
Yeah. Is this one of the joint votes? But you don't have a quorum here.
We do.
Oh, we do.
You don't get 2 votes though.
No.
Nope, but there's a quorum either way, so we're
fine.
good to go.
Does someone want to make a motion?
I can't.
I'm going to take a motion.
Hmm?
Take a motion? I can't hear you, I just didn't know.
Oh, okay. I would take a motion.
I make a motion to appoint Art Lawrence to the Policy Procedures Board. I believe that is to fill the vacancy until what year?
Next election.
Next election. April, May. Have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, if they're in order.
There's a dolly out in the hallway you're going to need for all the paperwork they're going to give you.
We did that. Derek, are you having to stay with us for a little while because we have an issue of a special town meeting to be up to? Oh, all right, never mind. I was just, we didn't get an invite out to you and we should have.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right.
We are meeting next week though.
All right. Right now, right now we're.
See you later.
You're going to have it by the 19th.
Right. We got to sign it tonight.
Sign it tonight.
The problem is that Donna came to us last week with a problem sending out her tax bills because budget's not balanced.
and
Okay.
requesting a special town meeting before the end of the year so we can balance the budget
Right.
to get her tax bills out. Unfortunately, Vicki came in last week with a very short free cash number that wasn't enough, but now that has since been corrected to a much more substantial free cash number, which is, if I'm shorthanding this all quickly, is enough to cover the less than balanced budget that we passed in May.
Correct.
Okay, I saw that email.
So that's what we're going to do tonight, is I would think we're going to discuss those the articles, and probably sign a special town meeting warrant for the 19th.
You had asked for it to be the 19th, but the moderator asked if you could change the place, the location. If for the 19th it's booked at Norris School, but the 18th is opened. So you're still within your time frame. Town clerk is okay with that date as well.
Well, we booked it here simply so we wouldn't have to open the school for the cost of opening the school.
Yeah, we're going to open here.
Huh? Yeah,
We're going to have it here.
Yeah, that's what he wants it up to school.
But the moderators, yeah.
Who does?
The moderator.
Moderator wants it at the school.
He's asked to keep it consistent, keeping it at the school.
I mean, I think I suggested here to simply save the cost of opening
the building and the janitor's cost.
Yeah.
What's been done in the past, never been here?
It's never been here.
We did have one last December.
We had one here.
Did we have one here?
Yeah, we had one here.
Emergency.
Short-term memory loss. Okay.
It seems like
Most
to
of
be
them
the
are
same.
always at the school.
Seems to be the same thing.
Well, we can save some money having it here, right? How much money can we save?
How much is it going to cost us to open up the school? Anybody know?
I don't know.
I mean,
No, we have to pay for the price of 2 janitors.
yeah. I mean, is there anybody?
I can ask, well,
You got to do it tonight, one way or another.
We got to put it on there.
We get hung up on the damnedest things.
Is the moderator available on Thursday the 19th? He just doesn't want to have it here?
he wants it at the school, correct.
But he's available.
He's
so-
available, but he wants it at the
Well,
school.
let's leave it this way. I'm making a motion, we have it at the school if it's available. If not, it should be here.
On what?
18th?
On what?
It's not available on the 19th.
It's not?
No.
But do we have a window?
18, we'd have to move it to 18, which still, we were trying to give ourselves a little cushion.
Yeah.
And I apologize.
I know
for
you're
the
yelling.
for my voice.
Sorry, I can't hear.
The school
I understand the
is-
18th, if we have to do it the 18th.
The school is available on the 18th.
And does that give us our 14 days and everything?
Yes, it does. If you sign it tonight, they post it tomorrow, yes, you do.
I hate this
It's only
rush.
5 questions, we're not adding anything to them, am I right?
Well, we had the chief send over a request for his.
We're dealing with balancing the budget. I mean, that's my feeling. We had questions that were brought to us last week, what we had. I mean, for all due purposes, all the other departments weren't told to put a question in.
That's true.
I think it
And
should
I
wait.
received the email this morning at 8:30 that free cash was certified, so I'm not quite sure how it
What,
got out to all the other departments.
the first question is, what do we need to balance the budget? What number balances the budget?
$371,777.97 per the final budget that was voted on, that the finance committee.
In May.
In May, correct.
What amount of, what was the number you said was free cash, or you thought was going to be free cash last week when we were looking at this problem?
367,000.
So we were short $10,000 last week.
Correct.
Now,
No, 367 and 371.
it's $10,000 roughly, or $3,000, I'm sorry. 3 or 4,000.
Yeah.
3 or 4,000 we were short last
Right,
time.
which we were going to take out of the
Stabilization.
operating stabilization.
Right,
correct.
I'm sorry, I did a little too much. $3,000 before.
Yep,
How much free cash do we actually have today?
$560,880.
And how much is that all available to balance the budget?
Correct.
So we now have roughly $200,000 more dollars than we need.
Correct.
197.
560,880.
What is it, 5.6?
$560,880.
So we're going to take 371,000 rough dollars and balance the budget.
Correct.
And what were those other articles?
We have $2,500 to Trident Insurance.
Did we ever figure, oh, you called me and I never got back to you or
Yeah,
something?
I have the file
The
here.
$2,500?
Yeah, we just dug into it, so we have a better explanation. And then what else?
And we have $2,356.82 for a federal withholding tax penalty.
2,000?
$2,356.82.
Is that the number you said was $25,000 last week?
No, we thought it was about 2,500, so it's
2,500.
2,300.
That's the penalty on the,
Yeah.
taking it out of the wrong account.
Right.
When did that happen?
2010?
December of 2010.
Why are we just paying it now?
No, it's already paid. It was paid.
Are we transferring the money?
Right.
Yeah, because it's paid into a liability account, it shows up as a debit balance.
Why
on the
didn't we
balance
do
sheet.
this sooner?
I just found it.
The auditors found it when they did the audit,
Well-
I guess.
Well, the auditor suggested that I reconcile all these, what they call agency account funds, which are all the withholdings, the federal taxes, the state taxes, the Medicare, the dental, the wage garnishments.
Apparently Dave hadn't done it.
He had done it in a couple of years.
All right, so I'm sorry,
So
we're
when I
gonna,
dug into it, I found, well, why is this balance still here? And it should be, and that's what I came up with.
all right, so we're taking 371, 2,500 for the legal bill,
2,300.
2,300 for the tax bill.
And I have a $175 bill to W.B. Mason that we owe him from 2011.
That's a 9/10 vote?
Yes.
Right. And that's for office supplies or something?
It was for a file cabinet for the finance committee, and for whatever reason, it was submitted to be paid from reserve, but we can't pay it from reserve, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
So those are the 4 transfers. Or the 4,
Correct.
leaving us with how much free cash?
$184,071.
Thank you, ma'am, but could you go a little slower with the numbers?
$184,071, approximately.
Yeah, $184,070. Yep.
All right, 184,000 left in free cash.
Can I ask a question from the finance? Last year, when you put the 2014 budget together to begin with, not to balance it, the 13, how much free cash did you put in? You don't know.
$59,000 for the school.
Okay.
From the North School contract for the teachers. They originally cut some money out of there, and it was only fair that since everyone else was getting 2%, that was going to cover their 2% raise for that year. And then we put $2,700 in for the old town hall maintenance expenses, because it was missed when those budgets
So
were
about $5,500 we used from free cash to start the revenue side of the budget off in 14?
The other piece would be $10,000 for the public safety complex. We took out of free cash to fund the public safety complex. So it's $71,700 on top of the $371,000 for the total FY14 budget.
And that was used to build the budget to
Correct.
begin with?
Correct.
Not a lot of money left.
184 was certainly a lot better than last week when we
Well, I
had...
know it's a lot better than last week, but I'm saying is, when you go to start building the budget for 15, you had free cash the last several years, as far as I can remember, to start those numbers. And if it's going to be another year like that, there's no other crystal pots coming around but the free cash and the new growth.
We're trying to stay away from free cash.
There was one question I had is, we borrowed money, not borrowed, we used money from free cash, no, from the stabilization accounts last year. I saw a memo from Vicki.
That was
Did we
my...
ever put anything back?
No, that was my next question, which is why we were getting to that 184,000, is how much of that are we going to transfer to the stabilization accounts?
Well, I sent an email to you guys today. My suggestion was to put at least the $59,000 back we took out of stabilization in February to pay for the raises, the ballistic shields, the police vest, and the almoners account. I think we should put that back. Because people asked that question at the town
they
meeting, are you going to be able to put this back? And our intention was yes, but then when it came down to budget time, we didn't have it because we...
Which of one of the two stabilizations did we take that from?
Operating.
Operating.
Correct.
So the suggestion, and I would concur, is to put the
Put it
59 back. The question is, do we put something more back?
I guess I would say yes.
Well, I'm asking them.
Oh. My opinion, I would say yes.
Well,
as a citizen, you can say that, but...
Yes.
I mean, I know he's no longer with us, but we've always had this lecture from Dave Kilson that we should have 5%
yes.
in the reserves, and we're not even 2%.
I mean, it
I
would,
can't say taking it all out of there, but,
No,
you know,
I mean, so if
we're
you,
gonna need something to build the 15 budget.
so what if you've taken 59,000, you got roughly 25,000, am I doing the math right?
$125,071.
How much?
$125,071.
So my suggestion would be take 25,000 of that, divide it between the two stabilization accounts, 12,500.
Right.
At least put something in
Back.
there. Leave 100 free cash for future necessities.
because since 2007, from free cash, we've put $360,000 into stabilization. Right now, I have 62 in one and 112 in the other. So we've been taking money out. And over from 2007 until 2014 budget, we've used $1.9 million to balance all of those budgets from free cash. Whether it be initially to balance the budget, to reduce the tax rate, or later on when we realized, you know, we need this, 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 and this items, we've taken it from free cash and have supplemented the budget in order to get what people want. So that's a boatload.
So $71,000 to the operating stabilization account and $12,500 to the capital stabilization account.
I'm in agreement with that.
Ladies,
I concur.
leaving a little over 100 and
$100,070.
Are we gonna add that to this, Mike? Are we adding it to this, this special town meeting, or wait until another special town meeting? I don't wanna confuse the 5 questions we already have, but.
well, I don't know, I'd like to do it now rather than run another one, but,
Okay.
but I mean, it means, can we get another article, those 2 more articles?
Well, Vicki has the warrant. I think she was doing the warrant, correct me if I'm wrong.
Because
Well, because you weren't here, so we kind of sent it to town council so they could kind of
Just
review
the
it.
wording.
Just the wording, and then she sent it back to
Yeah.
everybody.
All right.
So the question becomes, do we do this now, or do we do it at a later date? Do we let the operating?
Well, just to be fair to Chief Silvernail and everybody else, we should have another meeting to at least ask for what their needs are.
So stop with the original 4 articles.
Stay with the original 4 or 5 articles we had approved already.
And then think about
And then
another
probably
special.
February, see about having another meeting for a cruiser or whatever needs that we can try to address and put money back in the stabilization.
But the goal should be to put the money back in the stabilization.
Right.
Why can't we just do it now? I mean, you're gonna hold on to it and then something's gonna come
Well,
up.
because then we have to draft the language for the warrant article and everything.
And we can't get that done in time.
I mean, it's up to this board if they want to put money back in the stabilization fund, and I think we should.
I think
the
we
4 of
should,
us
if we
agree.
have, if you don't put it back and something happens, and then the money's, you take it again, then you're.
But we still have to vote on to take it out of there one way or the other.
Are the warrant articles that you drafted on word processing somewhere?
Well, Pat Cantor sent them back to Reggie
To Reggie and us and you guys.
Okay. How hard is it going to be from somebody? I have no tech.
I'll do it.
How fast can we do it
I
tonight?
can do it right now.
All right.
But I just want to be clear what articles
Just
we're
those 2
doing.
articles.
No,
It's fine.
You got 2. You got 2. $71,000 transfer to operating stabilization account, which is a 2/3 vote. And transfer.
12,500 to the capital.
Capital one, which is a 2/3 vote. And then we got to come back to the original question. Did we decide on where the meeting is? Are we going to go to the school?
Now that we have 5 articles, or 7 articles, it looks like we should go back to the school.
All right, we'll go back to the school on the 18th. Is that it? So you're going to have to change that at the same time, Reggie?
I never did.
Yeah,
it
the
in
date was
first
never
place.
in there, right?
Oh, it wasn't in?
Right, I don't think so.
On the draft, Reggie, I don't know if you saw, but they had Ann Roy's name in there. But that needs to come off.
I would. So we're still going to do article number 1. We're going to balance the budget 371,777.97, correct?
Transfer from free cash to
balance the budget, correct?
balance the budget.
We're not going to do these reducing the tax rate.
No.
Okay.
We're going to do $2,500 for the, let's go into the legal, Derek, if you have to go.
So we're good?
As long as you heard the message, you don't have I understand you're not the board, but.
Yeah, I'm not the board.
But you understand what we're doing.
I would say that if I had to guess, the board would want to put more into stabilization, but other than that, we have to operate too.
Well, thank you for staying.
Thanks, Derek.
Can we have, what's the history of that account?
So that goes back to remember the well, Ed, Josh had approved a septic well?
Yeah.
That's what that pertains to.
Yeah, but Is it?
It did go to small claims court, and yes, the town did send a representative to represent, and that's our deductible.
That's our deductible for
Yep.
legal costs.
Yes, and I asked why was it not submitted sooner, and they found it.
They did an audit and found it.
Are they looking for it?
In,
Oh, yeah.
huh?
Is the insurance company saying we owe it to them?
Yeah.
But we found it.
No, they sent a bill for it.
Oh, okay, when they did their audit.
They did their audit. No, I was being a little sarcastic, saying
Oh.
they did an audit. They found a mistake.
Okay.
They sent the bill for.
So the article stands.
Yeah, the article stands to pay the 25.
And we won the judgment.
We won
We
it,
have
but
to
this is part of our
pay a
deduction.
price. Okay.
Even though they provided, they sent I think it looks like they sent a lawyer from Morrison, Mahoney and Miller, which costs $3,000 something to defend, of which we have to pay the first $2,500 because of our deductible.
So the 2,500 is coming from free cash, or is it coming from?
Everything's coming from free cash.
Everything's
Okay.
from
Yep.
cash. Okay.
I don't know, I sent you an email earlier today, I don't know, did you get it with all the changes to this?
I'm sure I have. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
so,
I hate to
So-
say it, I was flooded with emails today back and forth. I was having trouble keeping track of who was sending what at what time.
and then I have 235547 from the first printout for the penalty, but you
It's
guys are.
235683.
23 what?
5683.
So we need a motion to go have the meeting?
I think we'll do it all as one motion. The 4 articles, move the meeting, the date, and do it all as one.
Well, when do we have to come back to approve this tonight?
Huh?
We doing this tonight?
Yeah, we gotta sign
Okay.
it. We gotta sign it tonight, otherwise you can't have it on the 18th.
Yep, let's do it.
All right?
Is there anything else you need while I go and?
No, you go. You go, because I'll try and do the other things. Oh, no, you can go, but I think are we gonna send out a memo tomorrow retracting our 5% cut?
Wait, before you go there, are we taking the cruiser
Yes,
article
you
off?
guys were gonna do it afterwards.
No, we're not gonna do the cruiser, we're gonna do that in May.
Okay, thank you.
Give our other departments an opportunity. What did I just ask, though?
If we were going to
Oh,
retract
we're
our
gonna retract
5%.
that memo that,
Make a motion, retract the 5% cut to level funding.
and I'd like to explain in the memo that retracting it, that why we did it and why we're not undoing it, and
I'll do that.
I want to see it though before you sign. Okay.
What do you want to do?
I want to explain to them why we took such drastic action last week based on an error, but it was time to act and no time not to.
Well, do you want to write a letter and send it to them?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'll
That's
make a
fine.
motion, Michael sends a letter explaining why we did this.
Yeah, no, we're going to stress how critical it is, but, I mean, we have to explain, because we sent out a bullet that went flying through the air, and
I would guess that the school committee is probably talking about that
Right now.
Right now.
I know certain representatives of the school committee have talked to me about it.
Me too.
Yeah, I do think it's important to stress that people need to stay within their budgets, because
Yes.
100,000 in free cash
Is
is
nothing.
nothing.
Well-
And we're not,
Reggie, you're okay. Yeah.
so.
But I mean, we're going to stress that lean times are here, but we have to explain why all of a sudden we've gone from a 5% cut to saying, okay, you're all right.
You don't have to cut 5%, but you can't go over your budget.
Right,
So
you can't-
do whatever you need to do to manage your budget.
There is no extra money.
No money
And
for
that
you
includes
in
salaries,
March.
and that includes expenses, because
Everything.
you can't have people going over salaries, because what happens is, people go over their salaries and they're like, well, we owe the people money, so we have to pay them. But then they don't have any money to cover that. Your expenses are easy enough, because I see those after the fact, and I can say, well, I can't pay because there's no money in that budget line, but the salaries, by law, I have to pay them. So, eventually what Dave had asked last week, which, I will get to in the next week or two, is go through what we've got for salaries so far, and if I can project out what you're gonna have, and if you're gonna be short, you need to be aware, everyone needs to be aware of that,
Vicki, could I ask, I'm sure the other members I want to know what that $371,000 of deficit and spending is all about? What constituted that number?
I have to look through the budget, but I think it was just the end up of whatever we had projected for revenues versus expenses.
I know, but something triggered all these things to be in the hole, $370,000.
We didn't have a balanced budget then.
Right.
We were off by the 370.
We have to pay $371,000. I just want to know what constituted those costs.
What I'll do is I'll look through the budget and see which line items from last year were significantly higher.
Well, I think we need a guide, and it'd be helpful to
I
know,
think a lot, you know.
because if it happens again and again and again, we gotta address this.
Well, you know, as I mentioned earlier, we spent almost $2 million over the past 7
You
years.
know,
doing
what,
that, so
the extra money we needed to balance the budget this year.
Yep.
I just wanna know what constituted those 371, whatever that dollar was. And it'd be helpful as a tool to see where that money had to come from to balance it, which was free cash, but what created that 371 is all, I want to see line by line where they went over.
Oh, okay, I see what you're
That's
saying.
all I want.
Okay.
Hopefully the new chief will put it in the budget.
Is that difficult?
It wasn't in the budget.
Well, I think it's gonna be hard to know where it came from, because I think they
But
cut it
the
as
hoses
much
we
as they
gave up to
could, but
West
they gave,
Hampton
you know,
weren't certified,
they
but
came
our
up with
hoses
a
are
bottom line, and this is
hoses we let them
closest
take
they
on a
could get
truck
to
weren't
having it
certified.
balanced.
But
Sitting
that
up
was an
here as a
extra
selectman, I
truck.
want to
It's not
know
regular. It's not our use.
where that $371,000 came from that cost us to take it from free cash. That's all I'm saying. So you should be able to look at line by line and see where the deficits are. Either they were overspent with the wages, or,
No, it's not the same, because it's the new budget. It's not balancing last year's budget. It wasn't to equal out
we're taking the
last
free
year.
cash to balance the 2013 budget.
No,
14.
14.
Yeah.
I want to see those numbers.
Like, what I can do is go through the budget and just give you a line item like, you know, legal fees.
Okay.
were
All you're saying
this
is,
year.
all you have is the revenue, and the total budget is off by 371.
Correct.
You don't know why that happened.
Well, I can go.
Because we walked to a town meeting, we balanced the budget, I thought.
We did, and that article was supposed to be on the annual town meeting in May, and it was left off.
What article was left?
This article.
This article was to balance the budget was
the
left
transfer.
off in May.
You never got it?
I said it right out loud at that meeting, and Pat Cantor came over and was talking to us, and she really.
Okay, let me get clarification that this question was overlooked. It should have been done for the 371
Yes.
to balance the revenue side of the budget. It wasn't done, so we were imbalanced. But you can't give me a line-by-line reason for it because it was the bottom dollars that were off.
Correct. I mean, I can give you a line by line of, you know, this is what we budgeted last year, this is what we budgeted this year. So there's an increase, you know. Going down,
if there's anything that comes out that is really noticeable, I want to see it. And, you know, I'm not looking to make a big thing about it, but even a highlighted piece of paper showed me where you have a problem, but that's a lot of money.
And Donna's right, what Hampshire Regional was 90,000 of that.
I know, 92.
No, the 92 was for FY13.
But, I mean, somebody comes to you and asks you, where did 371 come from? I want to know.
No.
Yeah, no,
It was dollars that couldn't be cut, or, you know, we didn't know, I think the finance committee and you didn't know where to cut anywhere else, and so that was the
shortage.
That was the magic number to balance the budget, so.
But I can go through the line items that kind of strike me that's higher, which will probably be the schools or wages, or, you know, they did put in money for the paramedics for next
Well, one
year.
item you said was the $52,000 for the school,
$59,000.
and then the roof. Was it 92,000 on the roof?
The 92,000, we could have had in free cash and certified now.
It's tied up.
But it's tied up. And really, it's 110 because we took 29,000 out of free cash in FY13 to pay for the initial feasibility study with Tishman, and then we
That
didn't have-
becomes
we could have borrowed all of that.
reimbursable now.
Correct. We could
So
have borrowed
we'll get
all of
something
that.
back with that.
So we could have $110,000 more this year, but it will come back next year. But it's still, you know, we don't have it right now if we need it.
Before you ladies leave, sorry about that. Did you all get the email that went out from the police chief concerning payroll on Officer Silva?
Yes.
I scheduled that for next week.
You're tied up next week.
We got to do it next week, or we do it tonight.
So, can we,
We have small stuff that's coming up for next week that we have to tackle.
we have interviews.
We have interviews, but there's the regular business of the town that's got to go on. We have a thing from Parker and O'Grady on the Woj, I can't say the guy's name. Wotowitz property that needs to be done. They got it to me Monday, which didn't give me enough time to get it on tonight's agenda, and it has to be done next week. There's the issue of Officer Silva's compensation.
Is that on the agenda for tonight?
It was not on the agenda tonight. We could maybe fit it in under warrants, payroll warrants, or it's on, I scheduled it for next week because I didn't know if you wanted to deal with it tonight.
So here's a, well, I'm happy to deal with it tonight, but next week, there was a scheduling problem with the interviews. So we scheduled the interviews starting at 6:30, even though we had decided that the board wanted to meet with the committee for half an hour in executive session. So my question to the board is, would you mind meeting with the committee at 6 o'clock in executive session?
I would not mind meeting with the committee at 6 o'clock. Question is whether I'll get here quick enough, but I'll try to. I don't have a problem.
Jackie?
No, I'll be here.
So if we move that to 6 o'clock, then the interviews can go on, and then...
7:30, 7:30, leaving us...
6:30, 7:15, and 8 o'clock, which would leave time at the end.
And to take care of these things.
Right?
I think.
6:30 to 7:15, 7:30 to
15. No,
15.
6:30 to 7:15, so it was like
All right.
half an hour interview with 15 minutes.
You should be able to fit it in between.
I think the next one was 7:30, and then
Well, and again,
8:30.
there's going to be some things that are going to have to get...
That's fine, but either way, I think that if we meet in executive session at 6 o'clock, we'll be able to fit those other things in.
We just got to take care of this. So, all right, so we'll put those two issues on, and I'll let you know times. Right now, you assume it's 8 o'clock, I guess.
So I'm assuming you're speaking of the education incentive
Yes.
for Jeff Silver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We holding up on that tonight, or we doing it tonight?
We're going to do it next week.
Cool.
Can I?
Yeah.
Just a point of order, what is the confusion?
Over the contract language, I don't have the paragraph, it's on my other, and I can give some of the history when we did it, if you've got page 32.
I got it right here.
When the state withdrew their part of the Quinn bill, we negotiated to continue to pay our part. And the confusion comes in with the paragraph that says the town of Southampton will continue to fund the police career incentive program in full, regardless of state reimbursement. In the event the Commonwealth of Massachusetts replaces, I can skip that part.
No, it's at the
Yeah.
last tab, anyone after June 30th, 2009. That's the problem.
The rate shall remain in effect and be paid to town for all officers hired prior to July 1st of 2009 at a certain percentage. Any police officer, starting a new sentence, any police officer hired by the town of Southampton after June 30th shall receive an educational incentive in accordance with the BCIP, but shall be limited to 5%, 10%. Here's where. And 15% for a master's degree only after attaining the rank of sergeant. When we discussed the contract, we said that part we wouldn't pay for a master's for patrolmen simply because it wasn't worth our paying for a patrol officer to get a master's degree. But if they attained the rank of sergeant, we would pay. Vicky's interpreting that to mean we're not paying unless they're a sergeant or above for any educational benefits.
I mean, that's how I interpreted it, so.
I think he's just
need
asking for clarification.
When we negotiated it, we decided that we wouldn't pay for master's degrees unless they were a sergeant or better, but they would continue to receive their educational incentives as patrol officers at the reduced rate if they were hired after a certain date.
Reduced rate of what, 5%?
5%.
Of the total 100%?
We're paying half of what they were paying when the Quinn bill was in effect.
It's a percentage of their salary.
It's a percentage of their base salary.
Right. It's a bump up in their salary for getting their diploma. And that was the discussion. We decided we weren't going to pay for some guy to get a master's degree if he was a patrolman. If he was a sergeant and better and might need the educational...
If he has an associate's, isn't he supposed to get some money too?
Yeah, there's a 5%.
I think, I don't think that,
I mean, I wasn't intentionally saying he shouldn't get it, it's just, it's ambiguous.
It is a little ambiguous. We
It
should
be worded differently.
But that was the history of
The
it.
two ands kind of make it.
Right.
You could read it
If you put a semicolon and then you said and
Yeah.
Right.
master's degree with the rank of sergeant or
Sergeant, would
higher,
then-
then it would be a little more clear.
Right, but if he has an associate's and he's a patrolman, then he should
Yeah,
get.
he gets 5%.
But he was hired after 2009.
Right,
He was actually hired in July.
And
of
actually, it gets even more confusing if you go to the first sentence, because it says any police officer hired after, so any officer gets it, and then you would be reading it to take away at the bottom, which
Yeah.
is contradictory.
So it was confusing, so I just
So
wanted
the-
you guys to clarify that.
The history of this is that when we negotiated, we weren't gonna pay for master's degree for patrol officers. They had to be a ranking officer. Is that your message?
I wasn't on the board, I got asked that
Oh, that's
question.
what you remember.
And I was told, when I came on the board, I asked you a question about the Quinn bill, and it was explained to me that no officers that were hired after 2009 were entitled to it, but,
Well, we continue to fund our portion of the Quinn bill.
okay.
Right.
They don't get the full Quinn bill anymore, and it's misnomer to say it's the Quinn bill.
Before 2009, they get the full bill.
Right.
We pay for the full
Full
bill.
bill. But after that,
So for this half, because this is only half, it's $31,358, including Jeff Silva.
say that again,
$31,358.
it's costing us for that?
No, that's half.
Oh,
So it's
The other half will get paid in
$63,000 a year.
So if you take the average of what the police wages is currently, which is $23,000 a pay period, you add this on top of it, he's gonna be short. If he stays $23,000 for the next pay periods, he's gonna be short like $2,000. So, I gotta go
It's in the
through those
contract,
numbers,
he's
but I
entitled to
put
give it, my interpretation.
Say that again?
If it's a signed document that we agreed to and was approved, we're entitled to give it.
Right, he should get it.
But, I mean, the language needs to be straightened out.
With it, yeah.
Whether you send it somewhere else or this board makes the decision, but
And we
I think
can,
this board will come up with 4 different answers.
no, it was not the most artfully drawn paragraph going.
No, and that's why that was my.
Because
you
it
know,
says any officer, and then it takes it away
At the end.
at the end, which makes no sense.
It was ambiguous, and I was just questioning it, and I got the answer, and then I wanted
But the
clarification
his-
from you, because you're the governing.
But that was the history of that, is that we weren't gonna pay for a
So is that your, I mean, we can add it to the payroll this week as it was as it was submitted, if that's your answer, yeah.
That's my answer to you as to what that clause was meant to be.
I mean, I think
That's
that-
me as, having been in that police negotiation, I don't know who else was, you were here, so it's just you and me,
Yeah, and I remember we did agree to give,
for the lower, we would only pay for the masters for the higher ranking officer.
no, but also the associates.
Yeah, but no, that's
Yeah,
what,
but-
did he get an associate's or did he get a?
Yes, he has.
All right, so he got an associate's. The only issue comes in for master's degree if they're a sergeant.
Right, if they're a sergeant, yep.
Because we said if they were in management position, then we would consider paying for the master's degree. All right, done.
So is that?
What are we going to do to clarify that verbiage?
You can't do anything, no, that's the contract. Until you can't do anything until it comes around again. I don't know when that contract's up again. It's almost time.
But-
3-year contract, I think.
But it's been in force for a while.
It's
Till
till 2015.
Yeah. You guys just
He's
signed it.
asking for, wait a minute. He currently has an associate.
He got it.
He got
He got an associate, so he's only getting the 5%. 5% of his total wages.
Yeah. He gets a
It's
5%.
10%
If you get a bachelor's.
is bachelor's.
And he-
It's off the table unless he's a master's, unless he's at a sergeant or above.
If it's a sergeant or above, is it 25? 15, it was 25.
It was 25.
It was 25. So,
I would say, if you're pretty clear on it, we pay the 5%.
oh, I think we pay the 5%. The question becomes, the next time we negotiate that contract, that language needs to get cleaned up just for the sake of clarity. You know, but it's 15? It's 2015 that contract renews?
I thought it was.
Yeah, it's next year.
think so.
This is,
It's
we're in the
14
second year.
it's yeah, we're 2
We're in
years,
FY14, so it has one more year.
one more year to go.
And so you're just going to put that in this week, and we're going to be done with the, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Coming back to the,
So do you want to pass that as a motion tonight?
whatever, yeah, I mean,
New
what,
business, I mean, it's new business.
It's under payroll.
it's under payroll, so, I mean, that's what,
Yeah.
so, somebody want to make a motion to,
I'll make a motion to pay the 5% incentive based on clarification of that language, which we just received. And I make that recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have payroll warrants.
Oh, I can't see. All right, so we go back.
Before we do that, can we do,
Can we just sign these things that I didn't have last week?
Oh,
because I
yeah.
lost the other
Oh,
copies?
yeah. We were just missing copies, right?
So, these are all for Liz, but they're all the first, and you have to date it
Is
the
this my copy?
26th,
Do you want me
because
to
that's
sign
for the
blue or black?
original.
Next week?
blue or black?
Is this green? Is this, this is our copy?
Do them all the 26th?
Huh?
So this is the one that you already signed.
Come on, Linda, we make it look like this.
While we're doing all this signing, is there any public?
You already signed one last week. This is a certificate for the mess, but I just needed 4 originals.
Four copies.
Yeah, but one you signed last week, so I had one.
Oh, this
so
thing
it's
is
3.
jinxed. My pen ran out of ink.
Black or blue?
Thank you.
Don't let me take your pen.
That's my favorite.
Every black, right?
It does have to be
Black
black or...
black or blue?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Oh, and then you need to sign this too.
I guess when you draft that letter for the 5%, I would just make it stupid simple, so to speak.
Is there 3, right?
I got to explain to him what happened.
Just say, you know what, we anticipated free cash lower than we thought and came in higher, and so, you know.
I got to explain to him what happened, because I took arrows for that memo.
Just
My suggestion for the future would be
Not.
to avoid any confusion between FY13 and FY14, which is where the numbers kind of got jostled up in my balance sheet, was separate the warrant articles into FY13 and FY14.
At the annual town
At the
meeting.
annual town meeting.
We had mentioned that last annual town meeting when we were setting up the articles, that, you know, you could have articles relating to fiscal 13 in one, like in the beginning, and then all the rest relating to 14. It just clarifies when you're going through.
And just frankly, I think in the past, they've always done the articles for the prior year and at the end, because they require a 9/10 vote.
Yeah, they were kind of intermixed, and I mean, part of it is this is only the second time I've done this, so when I did it, I put something in 2 places, so, but in the future, if we could do 13 and 14, it would be helpful. I mean, I know town council said we don't have to do it, that's what I was told, but it's a suggestion just to make it easier, even for the town to understand where the dollars are going. Because they might look at it all and think it's all for 1 year budget versus it's really for 2 and not for, you know, since they're not looking at stuff like this with you guys every day, so.
Okay.
Just a suggestion.
We're going to do some warrants. I have P14-23-2 in the amount of $22,715.17.
Make a motion to sign payroll 14-23-2.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that me?
You
Doug,
can't
you're going to
sign.
abstain.
Abstain.
Right here. Yeah. Jumping around.
I have
Oh, thank you.
payroll warrant P14-23-3 in the amount of $768.
Jackie can't sign.
Yeah, Jackie can't sign. Do I have a
Make
motion?
to sign payroll 14-23-3.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jackie abstains. I have P14-23-1 for $118,862.65.
Where are you?
P14-23-1, which is $143,397, I read the wrong number,
Yeah.
$97.94.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Oh, thank you.
I have a PD 14-21A in the amount of $147,203.95. All consigned.
What is that, anyway, payroll?
Payroll.
School?
Yes.
Make a motion to pass PD 14-21A for $147,203.95.
Is there a second?
Second.
But I think if this is school, wouldn't you be here?
They do it right. I do it every week and it's always right, so I just
Okay.
keep going.
Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This one I can't sign.
I signed that.
Oh, you didn't?
One signed now.
All right.
I'm good. The other ones on here, we don't have?
Anything else?
Okay.
Did I miss something?
$3,038.60?
Do you guys see a P14-24A?
That's a warrant, not a P.
Huh?
14. What is
there
it?
2 in there?
14?
Yeah.
Oh, there's 2 in there?
I don't know, I'm asking.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion to pass 14-24A for $3,038.60.
$38.
Second.
We got one for 44.
That's the other one, that's the 2 that were in that envelope. That's the other one. There's 44, 1 for 11.
We already voted on that?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, I inadvertently...
I have one here.
How do I get my name off of there? What? Am I going to jail now?
Yeah, you're going to jail.
Am I in trouble? Right. Sorry.
Is that your cell phone going off?
Hello?
Okay, hold on. I'm just-
Yeah, I didn't know if you were coming to the meeting tonight. Okay.
P1423.
Yeah, we're just finishing up here now.
Here.
23.
Yep.
Where this goes now.
These have to go. Thank you.
I just scratched you out and put my initials next to it.
Okay. All right, I'll pass it along.
I have 14 dash.
You didn't think there was a meeting tonight because he has no agenda.
There's an agenda sometime. There's so many, so it was easy.
I mean, this week was a lot of emails, but he said he never got an agenda. But that's,
I got it.
I mean, I got it too. And it's a bullet statement that goes on. I mean, he just sends broadcasts.
Yeah, so once it hits 1, we press everybody.
All right, this is 14-23.
So what the heck, do we got more signatures?
It was underneath.
I need to sign that one, right?
103.
Everybody needs to sign warrant.
Sign it
Oh,
and
it's
send
not
it
even on
down.
here.
Yes, it's right here.
Oh, I see.
All right.
Payroll 14-23 in the amount of $103,806.44.
Got it. So where was that?
Underneath.
All right, we didn't do motions on this town meeting business, so does everybody understand what we're doing? We're going to, 1, change the date to the 18th, 2, we're going to move it to the school, 3, we're going to take $371,777 and move it from free cash to balance the budget. We're going to take $2,500 to pay the insurance deductible bill for the lawsuit we won. We're going to pay $2,356.83 for tax, transfer money from a tax account. We gotta take it from free cash and transfer it to pay the.
Yeah, it was drawn from the wrong account. Yeah.
We gotta transfer that money back. And we gotta pay a $175 WB Mason bill.
Overdue bill.
Overdue bill.
Hey, Rich. You know where these go?
We messed them up.
Yeah, somehow they got...
We shouldn't have let you go. All right.
That's just a generic one.
Go into that big file over there?
You know what, you can't put down that recommended by the finance committee, because they didn't take a vote on that.
Well, that's how Vicky wrote it.
No, they didn't recommend, they didn't have any participation in
No,
that.
they just didn't have a quorum.
Don't put anything in there from finance.
I just copied what she wrote.
I know,
Okay. I'll be right back.
They have not been.
Well, you can review
Well, wait a minute, was that based on last week's meeting?
Right.
Yeah, that was based on last week's meeting with them. They did approve those articles.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
They
she's
didn't
right.
approve the numbers.
Yeah, well, maybe
Well,
not
they
the
approved the
300.
367, not-
They didn't approve that one, but it's recommended by, yeah,
Did you guys sign all these?
it wasn't
already?
recommended by the finance committee because we didn't have that number. But all these, they have,
All right, is that going to take a 9/10 vote, that tax thing?
yep.
That's going to take, it's a prior vote. Okay, we have 4 articles. 5, 6, 7. This is because we decided to do them all, so now we have, yeah, you're right, I'm reading it wrong. We have 6 articles now. Article 1, well, let's be clear, we've moved the meeting to Wednesday, December 18th at 7 o'clock in the evening at the Pomeroy Meadow, or Norris School on Pomeroy Meadow. Article 1, to balance the FY14 budget, to see if the town will transfer the sum of, to see if the town will vote to transfer $371,777.97 from free cash to be used to reduce the FY14 tax rate. Is that right?
Yep.
Or take any other action there relative thereto. Article 2, payment of prior year invoice, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $2,356.83 from free cash to pay a prior year bill. Federal withholding tax penalty requires a 9/10 vote. Payment of prior year invoice, to see if the town will transfer the sum of $175.72 from free cash account to pay a prior year bill to WB Mason, 9/10 vote required. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $2,500 from free cash account to pay prior year bill to Trident Insurance or to other action, 9/10 vote required. Transfer to capital stabilization, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $12,500 from the free cash into the town's restricted capital stabilization fund, 2/3 vote required. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $71,000 from free cash into the town's all-purpose operating stabilization account, 2/3 vote required.
Do we need a 2/3 vote to put it in?
Yeah.
Or just take it out?
Put it in or take it out.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons we did those.
All right.
Anybody have any comments or questions? George, would you like to be a public, make any comment?
Nothing at this time. Maybe next time.
You've heard it all. Anybody? Somebody make a motion to sign the warrant?
Make a motion to sign the warrant?
Somebody want to make a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
Hearings, none. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so when Santa's supposed to be sliding down the chimney, you guys are all going to be at a meeting.
Oh, yeah? I thought that was the 24th.
Yeah, well, Santa's going to be, we're playing Santa Claus with $377,000. All right. Any other business coming before us?
No. Okay. So they said we could move the meeting time next Tuesday to 6 o'clock in executive session with the interviews starting at 6:30.
Okay.
And you have a packet in front of you with the report from the screening committee and the resumes for your review before next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Well done.
Anything else? Anything from that end of the table?
No, sir.
Nothing? Yes?
I have 2 things. Did you talk about the police officer?
We did it. He thinks he's going to get paid.
Okay, and
So
then
would you let David know that that's been
he
taken
is
care of?
going to get paid?
Yes.
But he's not in here.
He's going to be, they're going to,
Okay.
they said they were going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to do that today, or tomorrow.
And then the second item is, did you see my note that the clerical person did receive holiday pay, even though town council said that it was not appropriate?
We'll need to schedule that for another meeting to take that. You know what? Let's schedule that for another meeting and pull together all of the emails that have gone back and forth on that issue, and let's talk about
Issues, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, the part-time employee again, and
So
benefits.
by signing it, you're saying it's okay, because Joe had said, how do you want to recoup this? Because she should not have been paid in the first place. So how do you guys want to do this?
So the attorney says we shouldn't pay her.
Correct.
And it's in there as paid.
It's in here being paid. So if you guys are signing it, you're signing it, you're paying.
What holiday she get? Oh, for Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving. And this is nothing against the employee whatsoever.
Oh, if the language,
Do you have the emails for the I know you've sent them to us, but do you have them there? Can you get us copies of the emails? So close.
It's
I know.
so
It's not your
far.
fault, Reggie. I'm just moaning. So close.
This is a no-moan board.
So close. Not on the other question is, I suppose it's on the payroll. Are they still here?
Finance Committee.
No, Donna and
I don't know.
Vicky's still here.
Oh, we have another issue.
Yeah, we got the part-time payroll. The part-time person got paid for the holiday, and Joe Fair says they shouldn't have.
Oh, I wanted to say that the monument is in Westfield.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's moving across the water.
Yep, she's here, and we have to get the inscription on her, and then once they get the inscription, she can come, and I talked to Mark Reed at the Parks Department to set up a time to have her
That's great.
put on her. Yeah, I'm all excited. Parents are all excited. It's gonna be a great Christmas.
It wasn't in October, that's for sure.
What's that?
The email she's looking for.
Oh.
Me either.
Instead of broadcasting silence for the next, can you take us off air for a few minutes? Sure. Coming back up? Are we back on? We're about to take up the issue of the part-time employee who is receiving benefits, part-time employee under 20 hours. Man. Reggie, can you summarize these? I forgot.
Basically, in a sense, what our bylaws say, if you work under 20 hours, you are not entitled to the vacation, personal, sick, or even health benefits. But this person was not receiving health benefits. The question that we had was the person was receiving vacation and personal. And the question that he has is, how are we going to recoup it? How does the town want to move forward getting the monies back?
Well, and she's still being paid at that. She's in that payroll for holiday pay.
So he asked, how much did this person know that she was, when she applied for the job, did she know that she was not entitled to benefits? Yes, because they sign off on the personnel policy, they receive a copy of it, and it was 9 hours per job, so yes.
And here I actually came to given the definition, it is my opinion that the employee at issue is not entitled to receive vacation leave, personal leave, or holiday pay benefits as she does not meet the at least 20 hours per week eligibility criteria under Section 1(4)D. Although it is unclear from the information that you sent me whether the employee has received sick leave or other benefits under personnel policies over the same period, it is my opinion that the employee is not entitled to receive any other benefits that derive solely from the provisions of the personnel policies.
Okay. It's pretty clear.
That's the opinion of Joe Fair. Yeah, Joe. So what do we want to do about that warrant we just signed, giving her vacation pay? How long has she been an employee?
I want to say since 2011, 2012.
And then she received all holiday Huh?
At least 2 years, then.
Yeah.
Has she received, is this the first holiday she's been paid for? She's been paid for other holidays?
Other holidays.
How
In the
far-
beginning, when she first started, 2011, no, she was not paid for holidays. In 2012, it started halfway through, yes.
Okay. So we have an issue
Has
that,
anybody, she's been getting holiday pay from day one?
no,
No.
no, half
Only
of
recently?
since the middle of
What
2012.
has changed that she now is taking holiday time?
Who okayed it? Who signed off on it?
Did somebody say she's authorized?
She,
I didn't,
I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to find out an answer here.
they're gone, I already went looking, they're Donna and.
I guess her department head, they sign off on her, they sign off on
Has
her
anybody got
cover
any comments back from policy procedures on this?
No.
Has it been sent to policy and procedures?
No, this was just,
Yes?
no,
Okay.
no, it has not, no. So you want to send it to personnel?
I think it should go to policy and procedures.
What are we gonna do about that warrant there? Let it go?
We let the last one go, but we gotta find out, you know,
Wait a minute.
is it gonna cost us more? We've been allowing this for how long?
A year.
A year. Has anybody put her on notice that she's not eligible for this?
Yes,
Who?
I did.
Who?
You did.
I did.
And
I
how?
explained to her what was happening
In writing or in person?
in person.
Is that in
So,
writing or verbal?
It was verbal.
verbal. So I guess it's been going on without any input from the attorney. And I think that if the attorney says that she's not able to have it, then I don't think that we should just let it go through Thanksgiving. I think it should be stopped. It still can go to policies and procedures, but I don't think that, given the answer, we should say, oh, well, the lawyer said you can't, but we're going to give it to you anyway. I think it needs to stop, and then we can go from there.
Personnel
Well, I do
policies is
think
aware.
that if the buck is supposed to stop here, we need to send a letter out reaffirming that, you know, 20 hours gets this, above 20 hours, or 19 hours and below gets one thing, and 20 hours and above gets this. And we need to define that, but we also need to be on firm ground when we say this.
Right, well, I mean,
And
that
I would-
letter makes it
I would-
pretty clear.
In his opinion, is
Yeah.
one
Well,
thing. It
here-
doesn't say,
Well, here, part-time employee shall mean an employee working less than a full-time employee, provided, however, that only part-time employees working a regular set schedule of at least 20 hours per week shall be entitled to sick leave, vacation, da-da-da-da.
does she work, well, how many hours a week does she work?
18, 9 and 9. They were trying to get additional hours so that she could get the benefits.
Did someone, is there a PCF trail when she, no, only the original one when she was hired?
Correct.
Nothing, no one ever submitted anything other requesting changes or anything like that?
Is she gonna have to pay back the,
We don't know how we'll get the money back. That's
but
the,
Why-
He specifies you're not gonna get the money back.
yeah, you chase it.
no, why
It's
should,
not worth,
right, she shouldn't have to if somebody okayed it here to be paid.
But do we
It's
want to
not
dig,
her fault.
do we want to dig the hole deeper? By
No.
giving it, by paying this?
No,
well,
but
if
she-
other employees are not getting it, and they're not getting it, then
So do we want to put an addendum to that warrant article that withdraws her vacation pay for the day?
Or, if you guys want to set the precedent, you pay the other part-time employees who are working under 20 hours the holiday pay.
Yeah, how many is that?
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying, that this is the precedent, if this is what we're going to do and not pay.
No, we're not going to do that.
No.
This would be the only place in the world you get benefits at 19 hours. Walmart, you don't even get them at 45 hours. Somebody want to make a motion which way you want to handle this? You're keeping us from going home.
I would make a motion that we make an addendum to the signed payroll warrant, and we don't pay for
Holiday
the
pay.
holiday pay.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor? Aye.
Can I add one thing? I know you guys you ended it, but can I just throw something out there? When these departments do their budgets, the money's in their account.
We're not paying it.
I'm just.
Done.
Someone saying it.
No, it's done. We're not paying it.
And so how do we stop this? I mean, do we need to have that one pulled out every week from now on?
It was in the budget originally. Doesn't mean she's
You're
entitled
entitled to it. You want to send this stuff to Personnel Policy Board, right?
Yes?
Send these emails from the town attorney to personnel policy?
I'm sorry, Liz, I didn't.
How do,
Now, let me
how do
ask
we
you this
stop this at
question.
the next
Is this
payroll?
an incident where the Policy and Procedures Board said she can get it?
Yes.
So we still got a conflict here.
Yeah.
We need to resolve this.
Right, we need, this is why I'm saying, send this to personnel policy.
I think, I don't want to rescind what we just did, but we should, if we don't resolve this with personal policy, this is going to come back again and again and again.
But shouldn't there have been some sort of paperwork that said you can
I
get
would like
it?
to rescind that last article until we straighten this out once and for all.
But may I say something?
Wait. But Liz was talking at the same time first.
Shouldn't it be that if personnel and policy said that she could get it, there should have been some sort of paper trail, and if there's not, then what they said doesn't count at all.
Well,
Correct.
it's almost like Reggie had discussion with her verbally, but there's nothing chasing it up.
Right, and so there's no paper trail, which means you
Resolve
go
this.
back to what it says.
Our policy and procedures, and a memo has, obviously the book is not clear enough. And because it's not, we have to send stuff to lawyers to have it clarified. We need to clarify it with this board, and we should be talking on the same page, and all departments should be able to run from that. I'm just saying now, this board hasn't been involved at all, and we're making a decision on policy, which is not ours to make.
Going back, I'm sorry if I may say something. This is what I sent to Joe Fair, Ed. In
I'm listening, I just
2011,
kinda,
I don't know if you can hear me, but in 2011, you sat here with Robin in front of the select board. You were not a select board member at the time, and you had said to the select board that it's a budget buster for employees who work over 20 hours that they receive benefits. You were a member of the personnel board, so you were the person who had said,
what I said would clarify this, it was a budget buster for us to be paying health insurance for people getting under 20 hours. It wasn't all the benefits I was talking about health benefits.
All right, wait a minute, does anybody, Ed, do you want to make a motion to rescind the motion?
Well, I want to make a motion to rescind that until we resolve this issue with policy and procedures. They haven't been resolved.
But we're going to
Because
pay.
they basically, and we don't know if they sent it in writing, that she should take the benefits, if I'm not mistaken.
There's no writing. There's no writing from anybody anywhere. The question becomes, the bylaw says 19 hours or 20 hours or more, or 20 hours or less. You're making that a motion?
I'm making a motion to
Is there a
rescind.
second to the motion? Being no second to the motion fails.
That's fine.
And send this to Personnel Policy Board, right?
and then answer Liz's question to moving forward, maybe we could put something into the treasurer, collector, and accounting office, any employees who work under 20 hours, just to,
Should not get paid.
correct. So maybe we can do something.
You know what? Send this to person,
Okay.
send it, let them make their own decision on
Okay,
that, but
okay.
send that to them too.
Okay.
Any other business? Any other business? Take a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Devin, help us.